Hello and welcome to the Farm Bubba channel. If you're new to Farming Simulator 22 and want to learn how to get started super fast, then you are in the right place. Here at the Farm Bubba channel, we'll teach you everything you need to get started super fast, and then we're going to begin a deep dive to show you how to get the most enjoyment from the game by exploring topics such as building out your farm, selecting equipment, and downloading mods to help enhance your gameplay. This video is all about exploring the menus and options that allow you to customize the game to your style of play. Be sure to check out the time codes in the description where you can click on a specific topic and jump straight to that segment of the video. Now be sure to stick around to the end of the video when I share another way to make lots of money in the game super fast. When you first load up the game, you end up at this screen here. Career screen, we're going to get into that when we start the game in just a moment. I've not done any multiplayer, but this screen here is where you would join a game or create a game, rent a dedicated server in order to have a multiplayer game with a lot of your friends. The downloadable content we're going to cover in just a couple of minutes because it is a little more complicated, but I just want to touch on the achievement screens real quick. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is the screen where you go to track that sort of stuff. The options screens will give us a lot more settings to customize it, starting with the general settings here. You can select your language. You can also select your input mode, whether you're using a gamepad or a keyboard. If you leave it on auto and you're like me, you're switching back and forth from your game controller to the keypad, then that will make the shift seamless. If you have a steering wheel, make sure that this little box is turned on. Force feedback is here. Invert your Y lock if you need to. And then all of these little menus down through here will adjust the sound. In the display settings, you can select your hardware profile, your screen resolution, also your brightness, field of view, other settings that apply to your display. The next menu are your keyboard and gamepad controls. And the last thing is our mouse sensitivity that you can adjust if you need to. Now we're here at downloadable content, or more commonly known as the mod hub. First thing we want to look at are the maps. Click on the map icon and you can explore over 200 maps from all around the globe. These maps are designed by dozens of very talented creators who spend countless hours working on them and giving them to us to enjoy. There are lots of maps based on areas of the United States and Canada, the UK, and Europe. There's even a map from South Africa and Brazil. When you find a map you like, all you need to do is double click on the icon, then go down and click on the install button, and it will be loaded into the download list. Once you start the game up, you can select that map. Lots of different categories of items here, from vehicles to pieces of equipment to tractors. You can select, say, one of these old school tractors here, click on it, go down here to install, and then you will be able to find that on the installed screen. There are also selections in here for gameplay. We're going to click on this one called Government Subsidy. Double click on it, go down in the lower left hand corner for install. It was added to the download list. We go here to the download list and it is here in our game now. We're going to talk about that government subsidy a little bit later on in the video. Downloadable content, these are all packs that you have to pay for. If you click on any of these, you'll see down in the lower left hand corner buy. If you click on buy, it will take you to the Giants website where you can purchase one of these packs. Extra content, I'm not sure what this is. It unlocked here a few months ago, some sort of farming hero suit. Not sure what that's all about, but I'm not wearing that thing. Best equipment here. Apparently Giant Software, I would imagine, are the ones that call this equipment the best equipment that you should have. There's also the most downloaded equipment. And this is the latest equipment. I always go in here and take a look at things. I want to see if there's a brand new map somewhere and if there's some piece of equipment that I just can't live without. This last screen shows recommended products, which, similar to the best that we saw earlier, is probably Giant's Software recommending some of these mods to enhance your gameplay. Okay, so now that we've explored those, let's go into career and get a game started. Here's our empty slot. We'll click continue. We're staying in new farmer mode because it's the easiest. We're going to continue in Elm Creek, so we will click continue there. And here it shows that this tractor and the farm subsidy are a couple of things that we have downloaded that are going to show up in our game. We just click start and we wait just a minute or two for the game to load up. Okay, so we're at 100%. Lower left hand corner is our start button. We click on that. We've already looked at the character screen. Just as a review, all of these attributes over here you can use to design a character the way you want them to look. When you're finished, just go down and hit confirm. We don't want to do the short guided tour. We talked about that in the previous video. We're just going to go ahead and step off the porch here. Okay, first thing we want to do is hit our escape button to get us into this set of menus. Here we are on our map screen. If you look over to the right hand side of the screen, you see all of these filters here. This first filter shows us our crop types. All of these different colored fields here coincide with these colors up through here to tell us what sort of crop is in this field. When we go into the second filter of crop types, for whatever reason, grass never shows up to start with. If you click on it, you notice down here, field 71 is where there's some grass. The next menu are your crop growth screens. You'll see these different colors here, this bright orange color. These fields are ready to harvest. The ones in these varying shades of green are growing at the moment. You can see this field down here, field 51, this is blue color. That just means that it is cultivated and ready for sowing some seed. Field 44, whatever crop was growing on it before, has been harvested. If we back up a couple of screens to the crop type, we can see that that field 44, it looks like it was wheat at some point in time too, but it has been harvested because it's this purple color now. The next filter is soil composition. It shows you the two stages of fertilization, which are this lighter blue is 50% fertilized, darker blue is 100% fertilized. All of these fields you see in the light green need to be limed. The next filter here is named hotspots, where you can locate all of your equipment, all of the different tip stations and loading stations, production points, and things like that. If you click this one on for vehicles, you can see all your tractors, your pickup truck, your combine. Here's our combine. Your tip stations. If we look down here, we see several tip stations here. Your loading stations where you can purchase products normally. Here we see a lime station is one of the loading stations. Your productions icon will show you where factories are. There'll be a lot more about production points a little bit later on because it is a lot more complicated to be covered right now in a super fast quick start. When you go into the worker menu and send a worker to either work on a field or to go to the shop to pick up some equipment, you will see this icon here as they move about doing their job. Whenever you contract with another farmer to perform some tasks for them, such as harvesting or cultivating or something, the number of that field will be blinking so that you can see which fields have the contracts on. And that's pretty much all of your filters there. While we're still on the map menu, if we click on farmland, this shows us the property that we own. If you want to buy more farmland, you just click on the property you want to buy. We just hit our space bar, and that piece of property belongs to us now. Now we can go in and plow this field, harvest the crop off of it, or whatever we want to do with it. The active worker screen, we talked about that in the first video, but we can certainly take a look at that again. We'll hop into this tractor here and send him down to the bakery. Hit our escape menu. Let's go down here to set destination. We'll click on that. Get that little icon on our mouse again. Let's stop him right in front of the bakery. We click once on it. Now we can set a direction that we want him to head when he gets there. Click on it, and there he goes. The next menu is our crop calendar. We touched on that in our first video. All of these crops in green, we are able to plant during the month that coordinates with them. We're in August, so we could plant canola if we wanted to. All these other orange labels here are crops that are ready to be harvested. There again, most everything gets planted in the spring, harvested in the fall. Next screen is the weather screen. Up along through here, it shows you these time codes and what the weather's going to be. For example, if it's raining, you can't harvest any crops if it's raining. So if you switch to this screen here, you can see that perhaps the rain may end at, say, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, something like that. Then you can get back to harvesting your crop. The next screen here is our prices menu. We looked at that before, but we did not talk about these little red and green arrows. Red arrows indicate the price of this crop is going down. The green arrows indicate the price of the crop is going up. They fluctuate all the time, so before you sell something, go to this screen and find out what's going up and what's going down and time your offload accordingly. The vehicle overview screen here gives you some information about your equipment. The finances screen we talked about before, it does give you a lot of information about your expenses and your income. You can also borrow money from the bank by clicking down here on your space bar to borrow money in increments of $5,000 and then repay it in increments of $5,000. One thing to be aware of is that at the stroke of midnight, if you still owe the bank money, they are going to charge you interest. Pay that loan off as quickly as you can. Do it before midnight so you don't owe any interest on the loan. Next up is the animal menu. We don't have any animals yet. That is going to be a whole other video because it's a lot more complicated than we want to get into at the moment. In the contracts menu, you can contract with other farm owners to do some work for them, either that they don't want to do or just don't have the time to do. You can either borrow equipment from them. They'll charge you a little bit of rent on that, or if you already have the equipment, say for example this fertilizing contract, if you had a fertilizer already, you would not have to borrow the equipment. You just go down here, hit your space bar to accept the contract. You're going to have to buy the fertilizer, but that fertilizer cost is built into the contract fee. There's one little trick with contracts. When you have two contracts or more that are the same process, like these two fertilizing contracts, you can borrow equipment from one and perform the job at both of them. If we rent this piece of equipment here, we will borrow these items for this contract. Then we go to the other contract, just accept that contract, use this equipment on both contracts. There again, you're going to have to pay for the fertilizer, but that is built into the fee that you're going to get. Production chains is the next menu here. We'll have a whole other video about production chains. It's a very interesting process, but it's much more complicated than we want to do in a super fast quick start guide. Statistics, if you're into statistics, this is your screen. These next couple of screens we will spend a little bit of time on because there's a lot of information here that we need to look at. The first one is game settings. Up across the top here is where you can click to pause the game if you want to. This autosave interval, there are 3 intervals, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you can turn the autosave interval off. Be careful when you turn the autosave interval off. If something happens and it's turned off, something happens in a game and it crashes, then you're going to lose progress that you've made. But there are times when you want to turn that off, and that will be in another video when we do a lot of landscaping. The time scale, it defaults to 5 times speed for time. You can drop it down to real time if you want to. And the fastest it'll go is 360 times. Economic difficulty, there is easy, normal, and hard. Easy is the easiest one to start with, makes sense. Traffic is fine, but a lot of times the AI drivers will get in the way, so I usually turn traffic off. Next up is seasonal growth. The default setting is seasonal growth is turned on. If you turn seasonal growth off and we go back up here and look, we do not have our crop calendar any longer. You turn seasonal back on, and there is our crop calendar up here at the top. Turning seasonal growth off allows you to plant and harvest pretty much whenever you want to. You don't necessarily have to plant in the spring and harvest in the fall, but you do have to allow however many months it takes to grow the crop that you're planting. Here you can toggle snow on and off if you want to. You can also toggle on and off crop destruction. If you have it turned on and you drive across the field, you're going to destroy crops. Periodic plowing, I like to have that on. Fieldstone, I don't do fieldstone, so I turn that off. I do want to have lime required turned on, and I don't want to deal with weeds, so I turn off the weeds. Here you can set the level of dirt, which will appear on your equipment. I like it slow, so I don't have to clean them very often. Automatic engine start, you can toggle on and off. What happens there is as you tab into a different piece of equipment, if you have automatic engine start on, it's going to start the engine. You can take right off from there. Stop and go braking, if it's turned on, just means that when you go from forward to reverse, it's just one smooth process. Trailer fill limit, normally if it is on, means that regardless of how full volume-wise your trailer gets, it's going to cut you off when the weight of the product reaches the weight that the trailer can carry. So if you have that turned off, then you can fill your trailer up to 100% volume. If it's turned on, then you might not get 100% volume by the time it cuts off with the weight. Fuel usage, I like to have it low so I don't have to gas up as often. This next section here deals with your AI workers and whether they automatically refill these products as they perform a task. For example, you have your AI worker fertilizing a field for you. If you allow your worker to buy the fertilizer as they perform the job, you don't have to worry about refilling the hopper. It's going to automatically do that. However, it's going to cost you more for that fertilizer for them to buy it than it would to go to the shop and get it yourself. So keep that in mind. Next screen here are general settings. Here you can turn the help window on and off. You can also turn on and off the automatic zone markers. If we get back out of this menu and see these little icons right here, you can make those disappear by turning the interactive zone markers off. And there they're gone. The field information box that you see in the lower right-hand corner of the screen when you're standing in a field, you can toggle that on and off also if you want to. You can adjust your money unit, whether you're using US dollars, euros, or the British pound sterling. Set your measuring unit to miles or kilometers. There are some camera settings here that you can adjust if you want to. Also some sound controls. Next screen down is our keyboard controls and gamepad controls. And finally, we're back to the help menu. Be sure and check out the help menu. There's tons of good information there. If we hit our P for Paul button, we jump into our shop menu. This very first icon here will allow us to filter out brands of equipment that we don't want to see. For example, if we click on case here, we're going to show only case. The next icon down is our vehicle menu, where we can select tractors, trucks, harvesters, whatever piece of equipment you're interested in. If we click on large tractors here, these are all of the large tractors that we can purchase, provided that you have enough money. Click on the icon there, gets you into the configuration menu, increase the horsepower, change wheel brands, wheel setup, put a license plate on them, customize your piece of equipment as much as you want to. Next icon is your tools menu, where you can purchase trailers, other pieces of equipment. Next icon down are objects, mainly your supplies. You can purchase bales of hay, bags of fertilizer, and pallets of seed. Next icon is used vehicles that are for sale. You can always go in here and check and see, get a good deal on some used equipment. Just be careful though, because some of this equipment has been used for quite a while. This particular piece of equipment has 24 months use on it. That's why it's 58% off. So at some point in time, you're going to have to perform a little more maintenance on a used piece of equipment than if you bought it brand new. But if you're on a budget, you can save money buying used equipment. This icon here again is all of the equipment that we own. Next one down, if you were to lease a piece of equipment instead of purchasing it, it would show up here. Just be careful that at that stroke of midnight again, you're going to incur a lot more leasing charges if you don't return that equipment before midnight. This last icon here will get you into the animal dealer once you have some animal pens. The construction menu is a lot more complicated, so we're going to devote an entire video to construction and landscaping. I promised you at the beginning of the video that if you stuck around to the end, I was going to show you another way to make a lot of money in Farming Simulator super fast. So here's how we do that. Hit our P for Paul key, get back into our construction menu. If we tab over to production, let's go over to generators, and then we come down to government subsidy, which is what we downloaded earlier in the day. So if we plant this little sign right here in the yard, we step back up here on the porch, hit our sleep button, set the time for 8 o'clock tomorrow, then we take a little nap until tomorrow. And then overnight, the government subsidy has given us $7,735,382 into our bank account. Now you can't beat that. Do whatever you want with that money. Sure, it's a little game cheat, might not be realistic, but it gives you an opportunity to take that money, buy some more property, buy some top-of-the-line equipment, and really start to make a huge farming operation if that's what you want to do. Just another way to make some money in Farming Simulator 22. So if you want to get rid of that subsidy sign, just go back into your construction menu, tab all the way over to demolish, put that little circle right on top of it. You want to sell government subsidy? Yes. And it's been sold. still get to keep the $7.7 million. So what did we learn? We've learned how to navigate all of these menus here. We've also looked at the shop menu and learned how to navigate some of these menus. And we've also learned how to make $7.7 million in just one day. Well, that wraps things up for now. If you received value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more videos and ring the notification bell to be notified when the next video posts. Leave a comment down below to tell me what you liked or didn't like about the video and what you'd like to see in future videos. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.